掌声、欢呼声在哪里？好，下面呢，我们将要登场的是今年职业联赛春季的亚军战队。
Well, that was quite the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone. We're getting underway. The Chinese World Championship qualifiers you're seeing on your screen right now. Of course, the guys that already made the qualification, that's LPL Gaming, but this is not going to be about them. Of course, we're introducing the other teams right now, Invictus Gaming coming up on your screen. But guys, this is going to be epic. I'm Devin PiraTechnics, joined, of course, by Ryan Frosker and more, and we are going to kick these games off in style, it looks like. Yeah, they're running too. But does he do no? Yeah, this has been a journey in time and space, I'm pretty sure, today. We started out somewhere preoccupied with 1985. Then we kind of went a little bit back in time, you know, Victorian era, maybe a little bit of a symphony. Then we kind of went to this dystopian future, and then back to the 80s for a little bit. I don't really know where we are anymore, to be honest. Well, we don't have to because these guys are. And look at that raised platform and everything. I expect like Slash to be standing behind them. He's kind of hanging out. She's giving the forecast. Actually, it's Starhorn, so we're going to see all the teams being introduced kind of like a round. But yeah, as you mentioned, the first matchup of today will be OMG and Invictus Gaming. Second matchup, Starhorn Royal Club, LGD. These are the four teams still vying for a World Championship second and third seed. Well, technically, they could make first. The way that whole thing kind of plays out, they have to play a double elimination bracket, best 2 out of 3. And of course, the final winner of that will face off against EDG for the #1 world seed. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you make Challenger.
And that's how you make Challenger.
I always come out with that one.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. So the Starhorn guys taking the field right now, taking the stage. What an epic venue that these have been set up at, and they're just happy to be there. He's a big smile on his face as they get ready to take on their first opponents. Definitely coming in as a favorite over LGD, considering the 3-0 sweep they handed them during the LPL playoffs.
Obviously the favorites going into this are going to be Starhorn Royal Club and OMG. Of course, IG, the ultimate dark horse, and we will be able to see if they're going to bring anything out. But OMG taking their introductions right now. Son looking flashy as ever.
Yeah, of course, we're getting this on. I think, Frost, I think your mic might be just a little bit muted on the stream.
I might just be really quiet. Let me pull it a little bit closer.
Gotta raise that voice. Get the hype in here as they're introducing all the OMG lineup. These are the last guys, of course. They are running Dota 7. They did have some roster swaps towards the end of the playoff season, and they didn't have as much success on him, to be honest, as there was with Cloud. But this is a team in flux, a team not in its old dominant form.
They effectively choked, I think is the real word for it. Coming into the finals against EDG, we saw a 22-minute surrender.
Yeah, that was not the way you want to go out on this one, but they're going to come in to try and reclaim that lost spot. See looks of determination on their faces, going, having a little smile about it all, but hopefully they can come back against this one. Invictus Gaming is a team that, frankly, they're the biggest dark horse of this entire event. They haven't really played much. They weren't involved in the playoffs. They got in on a second-place spring finish, and yeah, it's pretty big. But here we go, LGD, the last team.
Speaking of dark horse or underdogs, of course, LGD also coming in. Not with the highest hopes going in, but a lot of veteran status and a couple of new faces on their team. Of course, veteran leading their captain, PYL, their support position, but XQ now on the screen. Kind of the up-and-coming new blood.
Yep, this is a team that has some old experience too, though. PYL standing in the middle, big, long-time player in the Chinese scene, and he has sort of been there, seen it all, done everything, and he is leading this squad hopefully to victory. They will have a chance to make the World Championships here tonight. They will be playing their first set against Starhorn, though, and that is not an easy matchup.
And that's what's really important tonight. So we won't know for sure the 2 teams that are going to Worlds, but the group will be slimmed down and eliminated to 3 teams competing. So again, it's double elimination, best of 3s. Loser of the OMG versus IG match will drop out into the 2nd tier bracket. Loser of the LGD versus Starhorn Royal Club match will also drop down. And then our 3rd set of the night, so even though our schedule only showed 2 sets, it is 3 best of 3s tonight, will be the losers match between whoever loses from Group A and Group B.
Exactly, and the team that does lose out on that one will unfortunately be absolutely out of the tournament. You lose 2, you're out. You win 2, you're in. That is the simple rule. Of course, EDG, they're already in. They're just here to watch the festivities unfold, and when they do get to that final matchup for just World seeding. And here we see on the screen those matchups for tonight. Invictus Gaming OMG coming up first. You saw a lot of OMG hype in the crowd, not so much for Invictus. This is a team that would be considered an underdog, and again, they're a team that has not shown much recently, any play whatsoever, being not in the playoffs. Maybe they have some tricks up their sleeves.
The one thing that dazzled me from the crowd so far is not so much the OMG hype, but Salme's sweater. I don't know if you got a peek at that, Pyra, but...
Yeah, it was a little... we went back in time, remember, so I'm pretty sure he picked it up while we were like in Victorian England, playing that symphony.
I know you were tired, but just straight into the rocking chair. And of course, Worldly is not participating tonight, either is EDG. They are just here in the crowd supporting the rest of the LPL teams. This is going to decide who will be taking the last 2 spots for the World Championship.
Yep, OMG looking to vie for that one. You can see right there, they really want it. This looks like a team that is much more invigorated than they were at the LPL summer finals. They really, you can tell by the looks of just absolute devastation on their faces, the surrender votes, everything was just not there for them, and they will have a chance at redemption here tonight.
And let's talk a little bit about historically the context of OMG versus Invictus Gaming coming into this. So through the LPL summer split, OMG did have a better record against IG. I believe they 2-0'd them and then split 1-1. So it's 3-1 in favor of OMG. That said, the last time these 2 teams faced off in a best of 3, it was actually the playoffs for spring split, yes, and IG actually upset OMG to even make it to these qualifiers. Since then, they did not get the invitation to the playoffs because they weren't in the top 4 teams. So we haven't seen them for a while. So again, it's that running theme of dark horse. What has Invictus Gaming been doing? What are they been up to, and if they'll show up tonight?
Yeah, that's really the big question on everybody's minds. OMG, everyone expects a lot of them, especially their mid laner. Cool has been instrumental in all of these sets that OMG has played in. You could almost say hard carrying in a lot of ways. Going has kind of been a little bit less consistent of late. Did get a couple of missed teleport timings. This is the kind of thing they rely on. Their bot lane is typically considered one of the weakest of the top teams. And Invictus has a very strong suit there. Kid and Kitties have been one of the stronger, more consistent bot lanes in the entirety of the LPL despite their weak finish.
And I like that's what you bring out, because when we talk about the matchup of Invictus Gaming versus OMG, everyone likes to talk about Cool. Of course, he had that amazing Yasuo game where he went, GPM was 6-10. I think that's the record, previously defeating Son's record. The thing, though, is that his counterpart for this set coming up is going to be Zitai. We talk a lot about how Zitai has this dynasty about him. It used to be back in the day that White's Cool and Zitai and Messiah were kind of, the top 4 mid laners. Messiah retires, White's retires, Cool goes on injury list. Of course, he has now returned to OMG and, like you said, been hard carrying the team. But it was kind of up to Zitai, hey, these other 3 mid laners kind of disappeared from the scene. I can finally rise up. I can be the mid laner that everyone expected me to be. And he kind of choked and stumbled. Is this an issue of, not being able to do the new shot calling role that he now supports for the team? Is this an issue of, PDD retiring? That said, if anyone has the potential to beat Cool 1v1 in the lane from China, it is Zitai.
Yeah, he's definitely a huge pivot point on this team. In the top lane, you mentioned PDD's retirement. They have been struggling with their replacement. They did get him from Korea from a team called Mook Comet. It was Yang-Soo, and he really hasn't had a deep champion pool. He hasn't done particularly poorly, but it's hard to fill those shoes that PDD left. That is an incredible player that was the scene that just lost after that last split. So it's difficult to really get into that mindset that you can get that good in that short of time. And I think they tried to rely on him for a while. It didn't quite work out. And Invictus is a team that, they can be absolutely flaming hot and just completely demolish opponents, but at the same time, they also can lose to anyone. They went 1-1 in the regular season against every team except their sister team.
Exactly. The only team that was able to that they couldn't split with was Young Glory. Interesting statistics also coming into this is the fact that Cool, and this is not counting playoffs because obviously IG didn't compete in playoffs, had a total of 11 unique champions played in the mid lane. The only person to beat him, the two mid laners, were Goon and Zitai with 12 unique champions in the mid lane.
And of course, Zitai, you always joke about it. It's a random button that he hits every single time when he's locking champion. And we saw him play Renekton mid. He went back to his Season 2 favorite, Zillion mid, before a lot of other regions even thought about that this year. This guy is absolutely crazy. An evil mastermind. We'll just see if that side of him comes out tonight, because that's something that Invictus is going to need to topple the Chinese gangsters. OMG is still a scary team to reckon with.
Absolutely, and now focusing from the mid lane, moving down into that bot lane, we said it over and over, Son and Data7 are not looking as strong as they have. Kid and Kitties are not a lane bot lane. That's not what they're strong at. Kid isn't known. He's not the Uzi or the Name of the bot lane. He doesn't come out super aggressive. It's actually arguably his weakest point in the game. He's very much more about team fighting. So in that respect, Son and Kid actually match up fairly well because they do very similar things. The big turning point and kind of the clinch for the bot lane, I definitely think is between the supports. Kitty's very experienced Thresh player, very experienced veteran support player compared to Data7. That said, Data7 actually has the world's experience. He's been on that stage before. He's been with OMG for a long time.
True.
See if,
sub.
Exactly. We'll see if Son and Data7 can reinvigorate some of that synergy that they found, on the previous global context.
Yeah, it's tough though, because you can clearly see that his mechanics were not quite up to par for the set that they really played against. Even against Starhorn, but against Edward Gaming in particular, it just was not there for him. He got caught a number of times. They had to put him on a tankier champion. He had some success on Braum. His Thresh play wasn't bad. And that's something that's troubling when you're relying on getting Son to a safe state. He's not the hard carry for the team, unlike a lot of Chinese teams where you have the AD carry being the central focus. We think Old World Elite, Wei Zhao we saw earlier in the crowd, of course, very much epitomized that. EDG, the same kind of way. Invictus Gaming, not as heavily, because Kitties and Kid are sort of still more of a supporting style bot lane, in the same sense that Son and Data7 will be, but they don't have quite so many hard carries. Zitai is going to be heavily relied on, I think. Illusion also.
It comes down to the versatility of these teams and how many different threats and stars that they do, especially OMG. When you think about OMG, it truly is a team full of superstars. We constantly call them, Pyra and I, the Bash Brothers. Cool, Going, and Drug, of course, constantly finding these skirmishes. And that's very similar to what Invictus Gaming like to do. When people think about a broad spectrum of China, although we're going through the player matchup now, they think of that 5v5 team fighting mentality. That's definitely still there, but these two teams, especially early, like to get involved in those 3v3s, 2v2s, things like that.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how they do in the early game, especially because that bot lanes are really going to be targeted out, I think, by the junglers. Drug in particular is going to need to help out. He typically wants to go top and mid, and that has been kind of the MO, but this is something Invictus can punish, and we are seeing, of course, the player introductions, what they recently played. Of course, recent is relative. These guys aren't involved in the playoffs at all, so these are regular season stats. Illusion getting to rock some Elise towards the end of it, but he did play a lot of Jarvan.
I was going to say, speaking of junglers, we've got Illusion on the screen. Of course, it's going to be Youngsu in the top lane, so it won't be Do. Wow. Nero and Rapid have rubbed off on me.
It's difficult to pronounce sometimes. In the mid lane,
2 letters,
of course,
it's hard.
There's your guys. This guy literally, he'll walk over for Youngsu and select like the bands, like himself. Personally does it.
It's my favorite to see Zitai just like stand up and push his teammates out of the way and just be like, let me do this.
It's kind of the play style. And he's very experienced for how young he is too. Been in the scene for a number of years. Only 17 years old.
Status. Yeah, just turned 17 this month. And of course, also relatively young and also just turned 17 is their AD carry Kid. Mm-hmm.
Who has been playing a lot of Lucian.
He's actually really well known, though, for his Trinity Force AD carries.
And it's especially been a reasonable one for him for a while. I think Ezreal was a big one.
Ezreal is a big comfort pick for him, but in the beginning of the split, yes, he was playing a lot of Twitch, which, again, it was kind of curious because he was always well known for that AD caster style as opposed to the more auto-attack heavy champions. And, of course, joining him in that bot lane is going to be Kitty's big Thresh player. Expect to see that taken away, banned away every single time, especially because Data7 is also a big Thresh player.
It has to be. Now, Braum has to be potentially focused out as well just because Data has had so much success on it, and that is an easy weak point. It's really hard to ban out I would say anybody in the mid lane either way. I mean, Zitai doesn't have a champion pool. He's got a champion Ocean. And Cool has been showing that he is just as versatile. And one game, he draws Yasuo bans. Like, throughout the entirety of the split. And there they are, OMG. We will get to the introductions in just a moment, but this is the team. This is the squad that has been terrifying the rest of the LPL for a long time now, but they were stumbling towards the end of it with their recent roster changes. We'll see if they can get back to form. They are going to need some help in the top. Going will 1v1 just about anyone, and Youngsu better watch out.
Very different styles coming into play here. Youngsu versus Going. Effectively, Going is very much that PDD, hard carry, almost flame-esque top style, whereas Youngsu is much more supportive, although looks like we're starting on the other side. Dada7 there. Tricky Boy, Coma, whatever you want to call him.
He's had a number of names, hasn't he? But yeah, the 777s.
He was Pomelo for a game.
Played, yeah, there we go. Oh, man. Talk about a team that's had a lot of supports, but they are hoping to finally find rhythm here, and they will need it because their ADC, Son, has had, I don't want to say consistency issues, but he's definitely not the strongest suit on the team.
He is the weakest point, but by any means, the fact that Son is the weakest point of OMG really says something about the strength of the team, because he's not a weak player. It's just in China, the AD carry gets dove. They are the primary focus, so you have to be that just a step ahead. And speaking of step ahead, it's going to be cool in that mid lane, of course, the big Yasuo, Ryze, Syndra, Ahri, everything player.
Everything, and it's scary how well he does. This guy is an absolute legend. He is an insane 1v1 mid laner in his prime. Absolutely crazy. He's getting back to form, I think. You could tell the visible frustration in the set against EDG, but nonetheless, still an incredible player. And of course, there's his teammate in the jungle. Love Link this time. All right, well, we're going throwbacks, it looks like. It was Drug. It's been Alan. I mean, again, we traveled in time. This is what's happening today.
Go back. And speaking of cool success, a lot of that has to do with the synergy between him and Alan. Again, they are a skirmish-based team. They are constantly fighting and picking these smaller 2v2s, 3v3s around the map, and including that is going to be Going. Really well known for, you do see that Alistair there, but he's actually more well known for those carry top laners. Again, Aurelia, Kayle, Jax, things like that.
Oh, yeah,
can pull out the Maokai, can pull out the Alistair, so a universal threat and really strong with those teleports.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're scary individual laners as well as that jungler. It's going to be on Drug to really make some plays. And yeah, I can't believe how many times this guy's changed his name. Speaking of players that have made a lot of swaps too, Dada7 of course as well. That's just something that they do on the TR client. It's all the time. You just get like instantly free name changes.
They have like 10 million IP, so no reason not to.
Makes it very difficult to keep track of who they are sometimes. Get some crowd shots in here. These guys looked really excited. Let's talk about that opening now that we have a bit of downtime. My face was melted for like 5 minutes.
I don't even want to bring it up because there's no way that I can top it.
No, absolutely not. That was crazy. I was backstage just kind of like completely going full robot.
I was surprised you didn't pull something. I honestly thought that your head was just going to fall off. I was so tempted to
I've been working on those moves for a while. You got to limber up before you cast.
Yeah, you got to stretch.
Yeah, it's a good way to go. Well, this game will get underway in just a moment. We'll get into champion selection. Again, it is the best 2 out of 3, and there's a lot riding on this one. Huge stakes. If the team wins this one, they will only have to play one more set. If they win that, they will be going to the World Championships as either, well, number 1, number 2, or number 3 seed. It's all up in the air right now, but these teams really want to take it.
And like you said, the magic number is 2 sets you're in, 2 losses you are out.
Yep, and here we go into champion selection. IG will be on the blue side. First off, out the gate, bands of Ryze, bands of Kayle, targeting directly at Going, as well as a Maokai and Zilean ban on the other side. And then Orianna. Pretty smart.
Expected. I'm really surprised that the Yasuo ban hasn't come out. Obviously, when you're facing Zatai.
I mean, Zatai could play it.
Well, they have first pick, and the true counter has already been banned out. Zilean has been banned out as well as... Ooh, but he actually goes Zed.
Hello.
Exactly. Well, there you go. And Zed, Yasuo, it's technically a skill matchup, but...
For Oscar, this is going to be good.
You can dodge the ultimate.
Now does Cool go for the Yasuo pickup? I mean, he hasn't had a chance since he played it.
That's the thing about it, is the first time he played Yasuo, he actually played it into Ryze, which isn't the most favorable matchup, but again, you remember the score, it was ridiculous what happened, but a lot of that was on the success of Drug playing Lee Sin, as we see him hovering that. He actually has a ridiculous win rate on Lee Sin. Out of the 10 games that Lee Sin has been played for OMG, they have won 8 of them, so that is an 80% win rate on that Lee Sin pickup. But as I was saying about Yasuo, the first time he picked it, it was into an unfavorable matchup. That said, Zed, Yasuo, it's very much a skill-based matchup, but you should not be able to land your Yasuo ult because Zed can just counter it with his own ultimate.
Yeah, it's going to be down to skill, but honestly, Zatai versus Cool, it's anyone's guess at that point. Now, Illusion looking to hover over Kha'Zix. Now, Kha'Zix never really fell out of favor too much in the Chinese scene, just because stealth is still considered incredibly powerful. That's why we have players like Clearlove, who were popularized for Evelynn for a long time. That Thresh will get locked in. Obvious choice for Kitties.
That is pretty good, though, because both the supports got their #1 picks. We did talk about how Dada7 was more of a Thresh player, but he found more success on Braum. Again, talk about having a tanky champion. Of course, San going to lock in that Lucian.
Yeah, oh, whoa, okay, we get the Jax pick up now, and that's completely blind. Goin says bring it on.
Youngsu is known as a Gragas top and Shyvana player.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's all we've seen for him, really, and I think this will be the last pick. Now, Kid, hovering for the Vayne. This is, of course, on patch 4.14. Vayne a little bit stronger now.
Just a little.
Just a bit.
See what that
I mean,
pickup
even without it, we saw Uzi get a pentakill a couple weeks ago. Oh, swapping over. We might see the Shyvana still, however, it's going to be rough. I think Trundle is actually a smart choice here because it does counteract some of the stat boosts that Going will get later on.
He get a ton of free stats with his ultimate there, but Shyvana, like you said, is the go-to pick for Youngsu.
It's a comfort choice.
Yeah. But they knew that going in, so...
Ooh, Twisted Fate. Okay, this is curious here. He's thinking about it. Nope, back to the Yasuo. There we go. This is going to be a good mid lane.
Okay, but this is only the second time that Cool will have played Yasuo in a competitive setting. It was funny because...
Got a pretty good score on it.
Oh yeah, for his first initial debut. He played it a ton on Korean solo queue, but just awful win rate. I think he was... in the top 10 of Korean solo queue?
He was deliberately getting dumpstered so he could completely pull it out unexpected. And yeah, I mean, it was permanently banned against him after that. Like, the IG is the first team to not ban it since his Yasuo play.
But with that, I believe that we have to quickly go to a commercial break.
Yeah, we'll be taking a quick break, guys. We'll be on to the Rift in just a moment. We will be right back. You are, of course, watching the Chinese World Championship qualifiers.
You need to mute the Chinese stream. Hello?
Alright guys, we are back. Welcome to Summer's Rift for the first time tonight. We will of course be watching OMG taking on Invictus Gaming. As Going face checks the brush and finds himself a Youngsu. And this game's getting underway, line of scrimmage, everything normal for these two teams. Nothing out of the ordinary to start, and it's pretty standard. IG's not that crazy early on.
It is a line of scrimmage, and of course this is the best of 3. OMG actually has a little bit of a curse with best of 3s if we think all the way back down to, Season 3 Worlds against Royal Club. They were the expected favorites, but of course got upset a little bit to send Royal Club into that second place in the finals against SKT1. See if that curse holds true, if they're able to pull out here. Again, the last time they faced Invictus Gaming, particularly in a best of 3, it did not end favorably for them.
Yeah, and we have seen the power of series be a little bit better. I mean, typically in the LPL, it's 2 games against the same opponent during the regular season, very OGN-esque in that regard, but these players are very familiar with playing 2 sets and being able to adapt on the fly. Now, San and Dada7 going uncharacteristically aggressive towards this front right now, and these players are kind of making this game look very limited strategically. They're not going for any maneuvers that would be out of the ordinary in a solo queue game.
Neither of these bot lanes are really particularly known for their lane phase strength, so we talked about that and how that's effectively a win for IG just because of how weak San and Dada7 have really been looking, and so you're giving Kid kind of a free pass into his true strength where he's been the most consistent backbone of IG through the split. The issue here, though, is that San is relying on Lucian to superficially buff his performance in lane. We've seen him do this quite a few times. This is a well-known tactic of OMG. So we'll see if this is able to work out and to kind of stall out Kid's performance on that vein.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of the key here, is that Kid is a very strong carry in particular, even though he's maybe not the strongest ADC of all the teams we're going to see tonight. He's still perfectly capable of firing that off, and San will only get weaker over time when OMG will kind of have their scaling power. It's going to be a lot on Cool and going once again to kind of make these plays happen. Of course, Loveling now, I'm going to have to get used to it, is maybe going to make some early on plays. It depends on where he goes, though, because currently he's sitting in the bot, getting a little bit of fight on with Illusion, or waiting in the bush for him to act.
Direct to camera.
Bug on, Blind Monk, and it's battle for red buff beginning. Oh, they're going to get some help from Dada and San. Here we go. Illusion, he might have bitten off more than he could chew there. He does have to burn his flash, but so does Loveling. Teleport coming in, going. Wants to get the action started. It's first blood for Loveling, and Kitty's wishing that he hadn't gone in on that one. They burn a lot of summoner spells, getting out alive, but Illusion is not so lucky. Oh, maybe not yet. Hello, San. And
that was actually relatively unexpected to have an invade like that, simply because he actually started his red buff and then walked across to invade on Kha'Zix's own red buff. Of course, Illusion bites off more than he can chew, does feed the first blood.
Yeah, and that's going to set him back just a little bit, too. Good for him. You know, Kha'Zix does have a little bit more use later on than maybe Loveling is going to, but, you know, giving the jungler that first kill, giving him the buff, that's not what you want to do on somebody like Drug. He can really make huge plays out of that, and...
But this is still very formula. OMG does this tactic all the time. We talked about how they like to pick Lucian to give San that buff into his lane phase to kind of hold his hand through that. And what they do is they go into lane phase, they never start blue side buff because they want San and Dada 7 to never fall behind, shove the wave in so that they're able to get there first. But hold on a second, because...
round 2. Oh, split on Winter's Bite.
Dada 7.
Kid has been held to only 12 CS right now, though, and that is definitely a credit to this pressure that's been down here. Loveling is going to be backing off now. And everything else, pretty normal. I would expect Youngsu to do a little bit better in the early game against Gogoing just because of the champion difference and how comfortable Youngsu is on Shyvana. However, Gogoing, I would expect once he gets 6, that's going to be a lot of enemy has been slains.
The scary thing for me is that Youngsu won't really be able to do anything against Gogoing's Rise, or excuse me, Jax. So the window of relevance up there for that champion to kind of go crazy is still very, very relevant.
Absolutely. And that's the issue with the standard lane, is that you're going to let Gogoing get up to the point where he's just unstoppable.
He goes.
Mid lane, yeah, we haven't talked about this. Zatai and Cool duking it. I always wondered what had happened when I was a little kid. Samurais versus ninjas was like the coolest thing. Like, forget pirates, right? But this is...
Forget pirates?
Yeah. No, they can't keep up with like ninjas and samurais. Are you kidding me?
Your name is PiraTechnics.
You know what? I acknowledge the superiority. Yeah, deal with it. It has been very quiet.
Other than the jungle invade, yes. But obviously there's no objectives on the map for them to really push. And of course Gogoing doesn't mind extending a lane phase. Not so much in San and Dada 7's favor. But again, this is the crutch that OMG continuously uses. Their strength is in their bash bros, Gogoing, Drug, and Cool. So just about waiting for those ultimates available. A lot of times in Korea, Lee Sin
level 5
will actually farm until level 6 to take advantage of his big power spike. Of course, we saw a few early ganks, but Dada 7 not connecting on skill shots. Who would have guessed?
San's actually been doing a pretty solid job overall, despite a few issues. Uh-oh, the hook's coming in. As soon as I praise him, he gets caught up, and of course, Dada does come in to take the brunt of the damage. Stand behind me, followed by the Unbreakable. Zatai takes a bit of poke from Cool in the mid. The junglers have actually not been as effective, minus that early play from Loveling. It has been kind of Illusion not being able to do much because of his early game blunder, and this is an issue for IG, who are kind of getting pushed in. Everywhere but the top. Youngsu's still able to take this one. Now Gogoing will get a little bit of poke off, and Youngsu has to back away. Burnout going to steadily burn away.
Well, he got the level advantage, so he's able to do that because he has this dragon form available, because Gogoing burnt that teleport there. And unfortunately, this is the only move that Invictus Gaming can really make to take advantage of that cooldown. It's still too early to make a call for the dragon, especially because they lost so much jungle pressure to Illusion getting first blood. I mean, that's absolutely the worst thing that can happen to your jungle. So Youngsu technically making the best play that he possibly can on the map.
Yeah, and it's, under the circumstances, it's definitely pretty good. Now, oh, nice dodge out in the bot side. Meanwhile, up to the top, bashing continues. And Zatai has taken a lot more poke from Cool, but the death mark comes in right now. This might be the first one-on-one we're going to see all day. He's going to force him to back away, and Cool gets the death mark burned on him without going down. Wait until the first backs. That's going to be when the real craziness begins. But so far, slim gold lead here for OMG. They have been playing the slightly better game.
Actually very curious about Zatai's aggression right there. it was pretty obvious that Drug was waiting in the wings. Don't know if he was trying to bait something there or if he was planning on going back. I expected him to burn the cooldown and then immediately back for the timer, but it's actually hanging around for quite a bit.
Yeah, very curious there, but it's kind of like a game of chicken. No, you back. No, you back. And speaking of backing, going with that Vamp Scepter has been able to do a little bit more damage to Youngsu.
It's
getting pushed in.
Very inopportune time. I'm waiting for the camera to pan back to the mid lane because I'm pretty sure that Zitai picked up his blue buff. But the issue is that he doesn't really get to use it because Yasuo took that time to back. And not only that, but he lost his ultimate cooldown. So of course that blue buff, the CDR, and now he's actually going to go ahead and back. So bit of a misplay there from Zitai and not really managing his resources well. I mean, you have to think, he got his blue buff. He doesn't have his ultimate for it. Cool backed. You put that on top of him also backing, Illusion not finding a gank in the bottom lane. He loses a lot of
they were out of sync. I
mean,
you had Kid not even thinking about going up for that, and Kitty's half-heartedly doing it. So they are a little bit off, and you got to wonder, with the amount of time that they've kind of had to not show any strats, they could have been coming up with something crazy in secret. And I'm just not seeing anything special here right now from IG. They're playing very cautiously. One would argue that might be the way you want to do it if you're going to play a protect the vein strategy, maybe try to get Zitai up to a level, but it seems like they don't know what they want to do. The strong part of
Invictus Gaming, though, I mean, a lot of people know them for their early game aggression, that's true, but when they actually found their victories in games, it was typically on Baron calls or split pushing, which, with said, you have a lot of success with that.
Well, junglers going to find each other here. Loveling taking a lot more poke than Illusion, and there's a kickback into the knockup. That's Illusion going down, and that's going to be cool, getting himself a kill. Zitai tries to come in for the cleanup crew, does not get a thing. Cool just burns it right on off and laughs. Loveling is able to make the play, where the jungler from Invictus cannot, once again. He's #1 feeder right now.
And again, Alan stays in the jungle, finds his power spike with Yasuo by obtaining that ultimate, immediately burns it into the mid lane for a nice synergy and transitions it into a dragon.
Yeah, perfect adaptation from OMG. They're definitely looking to control this game. The pace of it in the early one has definitely been on their side, and this dragon should be uncontested. However, you do see Zitai going in for maybe a attempt. Too late. He's going to get knocked up, and he can't do much else. 3v4 is not a good odds to take, boys. He does try to find Cool, but the wind wall will block it away. Meanwhile, the top lane continues as if nothing had happened.
The advantage here is that Zitai doesn't get the exact timer, but he has a general idea of what happened there. So some information, see if IG is able to act on it the next time it spawns around.
Yeah, it's good that they were able to get a relative timer off of it, but still, kind of playing second fiddle consistently to OMG is not the way you're going to be able to pick them up. Baron calls or no. OMG have been able to control that particular buff quite well, and they have the skill set and the champions to do it here. It seems like the clock is running out for Invictus. Oh, they do get a hook onto San, though, and they wait just a minute. Oh, he's able to dash away. Kitty's actually taking a lot of poke, and here is Loveling as well. Kid's low. The box is down. Forced to flash and heal, and there's Loveling following up. That is going to be a kickback, and they're just going to be able to clean this up easy peasy. Down they go. Teleport coming in now. Illusion, Youngsu trying to make this happen. San's going to go down. That's a 1 for 2 so far. Not the greatest trade. Illusion and Youngsu, they're pretty low, but they do manage to take out Loveling. That is a 2 for 2 now, but it's only a matter of time before that dragon will fall. Dada gets himself a little caught up, and it's a top lane duo in the bot. Youngsu trying to run away. The jump, the leap, the flash. Youngsu burning, but he's going to get alive, and that ends up being a dead even trade.
And of course, the top laners with nicely timed teleports in there. Youngsu, again, showing that that is his comfort champion, that he is able to perform there for Invictus Gaming. Wasn't the case at the beginning of the series, but steadily, as the split has gone on, so has his skill. Zitai, not going to quite find Cool there. Can we talk about the juggle of the Braum aggro right there? Perfect, concussive blows, I believe it is, to find the stun on Kid to allow Alan to kick Vayne back into enemy territory.
Oh, it was absolutely perfectly executed, and they weren't fully targeting out Kid because there was a lot of zone from Kitties, but once they managed it, it really wasn't much of a threat. And pretty much Illusion and Youngsu had to do their best to clean that one up.
Great patience with the cooldowns right there.
Ooh, San taking quite a bit of poke from Kid. Getting a little more confidence now. 3 Bilgewater Cutlasses. This is a chase you down team.
It's also a very early Baron team, should they want to attempt that.
Oh, well, early Baron,
China,
no stranger
never.
to that in the LPL. We have seen, as soon as it's spawned, we've seen 15.5 minutes. 20 is like late. Oh, Youngsu. He's got the burnout going. Wants to chase him all the way to the finish. That is a really good use of the Bilgewater. Get off my back, going. Hockey Jacks will have to skate back to center ice.
CS definitely in favor of going right there. Is down a kill, but with that good 15 CS lead, does have pretty even gold across the board, and quite a few ingredients of his item. Looks like he's going to go Trinity before he goes Bork.
Dada's going to get himself caught. Once again, he actually doesn't get the hook on it, but the play backwards, and that's going to be one dead Braum. Or is it? Stand behind me. Hello. They might be able to find him anyways. Kid is going to pick up the kill.
Good use and attempt to stand behind me, but of course, Invictus Gaming just prioritizing the cooldown, saved the E right there, had the leap available, and was able to chase it down.
That's been Dada's problem for a long time. Face checking where he really has no business. Oh, I can get out. It's a 2v2. Wait, what? What's there a bug doing in the bushes?
This is why they put him on Braum. He's able to face check and not get punished
Most
too many
of the time
times.
he gets out. Yeah. Well, he was okay on Thresh. A little bit.
I like how you had to soften that blow there a little bit. He was okay.
I mean, it was passable. It's passable Thresh.
He's here.
Now, Son might be in a little bit of trouble. You do see Kid really catching back up in the CS game lately. Meanwhile, we did talk about this mid lane really being the focal point, but Cool has not been even taking it. He's just clearing out the jungle.
In my opinion, like I said, I think that the win conditions for either team are actually in the bot lane and in the jungle matchups.
It looks like it. Oh, Kitty's going to get a hook. Now, Kid, can he find the damage? The box is down. Kitty's is pretty low. Actually, it's Son that's low. Oh, my goodness. He gets the exhaust down, but he's still chasing Contem into the wall. And a perfect final blow. Kid will be able to get that one, and they're going to find Dada as well. Illusion coming in for the cleanup crew. And that is a bot lane 2-0.
And this is not how you want your Vayne, especially even on that CS does have the wave, so should be able to clean that up, see if he can actually reset this in the tower to just make it a double whammy. But Vayne, 2-1-4 right now, completely even on CS with that Lucian, will outscale. We've seen a lot of, in the global context, fear from Vayne, actually.
Yeah.
See if Kid is able to make that happen in China.
I mean, Kid has just been rocking and rolling on this. He's had a little bit of help, of course. Illusion has been really making up for the lackluster early game, and Loveling has not made the same presence in that bot lane known. He's tried in the mid. He's definitely been able to outplay in a 1v1 in the jungle, but that's about it. And right now, Cool is not doing anything particularly huge against Zatai other than just pushing lane.
The issue, though, is that Drug doesn't have the synergy with Dada 7 that he has with Cool, that he has with Go Going, so ganking bottom really isn't a viable option for him. Occasionally, yes, they will find success there. We saw the very early First Blood, but that's very formulated for that success. They have a very specific plan when they set that out, and being proactive about these ganks as opposed to having them planned beforehand isn't... Well, though, hold on.
Yep, Dada. He just knows he's got.
All right.
Oh, wait, I have the shield. I forgot about that thing that I carry around with me, but it's not enough. Getting himself the third kill of the game, and this is going to be 30 seconds till Dragon. Hotly contested. Zatai trying to get a little bit of vision control up. Yeah, this is going to be the big buff that decides the later end of the game. The gold lead is pretty dead even right now. It's only 300 in favor of OMG. Oh, an Illusion looking for a blue steal, and he might just get it. He does.
No,
oh, wait, no, that was no, they both got blue buffs. It's cool, though.
It's all good. They walk away.
Yeah. Wait, did that blue buff just disappear? Spectator glitches, man, I'm telling you.
They exist even on the tournament client.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, they exist especially on the tournament client.
Dragon,
Remember the time when Kha'Zix got, like, chompered for, like, 8 minutes?
My favorite moment is when Jarvan goes in his Superman mode, and he kind of flies around the map.
Oh, yeah, that was the greatest YouTube video. I watched it, like, on repeat for, like, 2 hours.
This is sneaky.
That thing was incredibly special.
Here we go. Oh, he's not going to fight.
Oh,
good job,
okay.
Son.
Nicely done. Yeah, that was perfectly. Oh, going for Yongsu now, and he might have the damage to finish off the Dragon Lady. He does get going. He's got the Triforce, no boots required, but Yongsu will manage to get away. And yeah, Kitty's gets a little impatient. Illusion's still waiting in the bushes. They know there's no ward there, but they have to know something's up just from the behavior of Kid and Kitty's. The Dragon is live.
There's a ward on the Dragon, so they know that Illusion is in that brush. And again, this is why you need multiple pinks to control that area. The issue is that they have 2 pinks, but they're in Tri and the river brush. And the one pathway and objective that they need vision on, or control of the vision, they don't have. So OMG is able to bait this pretty much for free.
Yeah, as much as they want, honestly. But
there he goes.
There we go. Finally bites on this one, and now we might have Loveling making a move down there as well as Cool. This could be a big collapse. It is being started. They know that there was a ward there, and like, okay, we're seen out. We might want to get out of here, boys. Kid going to try to go for the Dada catch, but Loveling is there. He's going to get hooked up, however. Can Cool get there in time? He's taken pretty low. There's a teleport in for Yongsu right now, and they're going to bail out of this one. OMG. Teleport was available for Go Going. They get a culling back, And here comes the tie. It's all 5 members here, but Gogoing continues to split it out for just a moment. Will he teleport in? He's not got a ward to do it. This dragon is going to go pretty low, but will he be trapped in the pit? Loveland going to try and get a steal. Deathmark on him. He's pretty low. Oh my goodness, I don't know if he can live through this one. This is going to be a crazy close one. He goes down. That is going to be 1 kill picked up. The dragon falls down. Speaking of dragon, Yogsu coming in. Dada taken pretty low, caught up against the blue pit once again, and that's going to be cool on a hook as well. They managed to get huge cleanups as well as a dragon out of this. 3 kills for none. Big pickup for Invictus Gaming.
The communication from OMG, it was very obvious the fact that Gogoing didn't immediately follow the teleport, because that teleport from Yongsu was clear, like everyone had vision of it, that they were planning on trading the tower for the dragon and not fighting the really powerful Vayne at the moment. Then they just get caught being overzealous. Gogoing does manage to trade 2 global objectives, but at what cost? The dragon and the mid tower, as well as the 3 kills.
Yeah, that's not an even trade at all, and you can see it in the gold right now. IG just feeling very confident. 3-in-1 Vayne has the Blade of the Ruined King finished. Compare that, of course, to San. He is doing quite a lot of work, but the longer this game goes on, the more it favors Invictus's comp. Gogoing is going to have to really put on his carry pants. Cool actually hasn't stepped up to the plate.
The one thing that I will say about OMG's comp into Invictus Gaming is that should Kid continuously to get out of hand, he didn't actually pick up any more kills in that situation. He's still 3-1 and now he has 7 assists. They do have good answers for an AD carry that gets out of control. Again, China is about the region. Yes, there's a lot of priority on the AD carries, but that means there's a lot of priority on diving them. You have a Yasuo and a Jax. If there's 2 champions that are going to be a nightmare for Vayne, that's the 2 of them. So the hope is still alive for OMG. Again, these are very coordinated 5v5 teams. The thing that I wanted to talk about there, Gogoing is the shot caller for OMG. So obviously you have your top laner saying, we'll trade the tower for the dragon. I can get the 2 towers. Don't fight, disengage. But again, the cohesiveness of OMG, which has been the continuous problem. When this team is on, they're firing on all cylinders and they look brilliant. When they're off, they completely fall apart. So will they be able to hold this together, or will IG continuously find these cracks?
Well, give a little credit here to Invictus too, because not only are they finding slight weaknesses and exploiting them well, but they're generally playing well and on comfort champions. This game was interesting because everybody effectively got what they wanted in pick and ban. Usually we'll talk about how...
Welcome to China.
Yeah, China doesn't really ban out as well as other regions. They kind of give up a lot, with the exception sometimes being like, you know,
well, a lot of it is also to the champion pools themselves. These players have massive champion pools. We talk about how these mid laners, again, 11 and 12.
But Thresh not banned? Yasuo not banned? I mean, I guess it's justified in this case because Cool hasn't really gone absolutely crazy on it. Only 1-1 on this Yasuo. But there's still time in this game, of course. Only 20 minutes now in, and lanes have pretty much melted into thin air as everybody just roams around and tries to find an angle for a pick. I think OMG's win conditions are slightly changing, though.
They have a lot of pick potential, though. They also have a lot of versatility with the comp. The nice thing is that both of these compositions have the ability to look for that split push. And both of these teams actually, it's very... Ooh, hold on a second, though. San caught up in the bot lane.
Caught up. I don't think he can get away from this one. That is an easy pickup for Zatai, finding himself his 3rd kill of the game. Oh boy, here comes Loveling, and that's a knock up into Cool. Kid is going to go down, and they managed to get that. They don't need to dive the backline. They can kick him back to them. Going forward, going to get the flash jump onto Kitties, and they should be able to finish him off the box for the disengage. I don't think he can get out of this, but he's got a flash, so he will escape. They do only trade 80 carry for 80 carry. Bit of positioning errors, both parts, but the big shutdown on Kid is going to be hope for OMG.
It's so classic MO from both of these teams, though. You have the Bash Bros finding the pick on the team fight, whereas San, again, pulling almost a double lift in and farming those side lanes where he gets caught out.
Yeah, that was a bit of a problem there. Zatai able to punish that incredibly easily on this Zed pickup. With the Assassin meta coming back, that's kind of been the fear for a lot of these exemplary Chinese AD carries.
It's also been a huge strength to both of these mid laners, though we did see Cool hovering that Twisted Fate. See if maybe his Yasuo will pick up this game, or he'll return to that farther on in this series, but so far, pretty dead even game.
Yeah, and no wombo combos, too. Well, you really have to look at... Oh boy, San. Oh no. Goodbye. Well, back to what we were talking about. Par for the course there. You've got Cool spending his ult on single targets. Yes, it's Vayne. Yes, that's a huge deal, but IG is playing a very smart disengage when they do find themselves maybe taking something unfavorable. Kitties was able to escape, only burning his flash over into red. Yeah, you saw Kid get caught out, but I mean, they spent everything to get him, man. That's almost like desperation.
It's making sure that OMG has the right resources for the team fights. And what I mean by that, it's making sure that Going, Drug, and Cool are involved in every single team fight because they are the core and spine of this team, and their cohesion and their communication is what really carries OMG. If those three get split up, I expect team fights will go awry.
Oh, speaking of awry, Illusion on the run now. He will get a lantern to safety. Going, meanwhile, going to find Youngsu up in the top. Dragon's Ascent over the wall. These fights are just going crazy. Illusion is going to get out once again. Cool gets exhausted. Now the Baron control is a little bit more in the favor of OMG right now, and Kitty's getting caught out, has to find his way under tower. And I don't think they're going to attempt a call here. Illusion is low, but he can get back, and they do want to control this Baron pit. They are moving for it, and they might just start it up right now. They have all members in the area.
They also have a very big power spike on both of their AD
Yeah, and Zatai's not there.
You got the two Infinity Edges as well as the Trinity. They see it, though, because they have the Baron Gate ward.
Oh, they have to.
Doesn't have vision.
Yeah, Youngsu's going to try to go in on this. It's low, but they're just going to be able to get it. They can't contest at this point. It goes down, and they're going to find Youngsu hesitating just too quickly, but he gets the lantern back. Kitty's setting up the box. It's not going to be enough. Down he goes. It's a 5v4 now. OMG leading the charge, taking a lot of poke from Illusion and Zatai, but they are able to get out, and they didn't even trade tower. A lot of hesitation from Invictus, and it cost them big time.
Speaking of big time, the fact that they could have at least traded a tower or some sort of global objective, they lost all pressure that Zatai had created in bottom because he started to walk across the mid lane. Unfortunately, wasn't fast enough to save that Baron. Talk about how that's two Infinity Edges and a Trinity completed on their side. It's going to go down very quickly.
Dragon should be easy peasy right now. No one able to contest this one. And you really see the warding in China evolve over the last couple of months. I love seeing these placements and these battles. It was all about vision denial, but they're starting to really change that up. I think it has a lot to do with the Korean junglers and coaches that have been brought in recently.
It was very apparent that teams had been watching the OG and finals in particular. That's when we started to really see the warding change in China. Again, we talked about alone that the fact that Invictus Gaming, yes, they didn't have the vision on the Baron, but they knew it was being taken because they had the Baron ward gate there. The fact that OMG prioritized buying those pinks and moving their vision to the correct side of the map to secure that objective. So you're absolutely right. We have seen a big evolution of warding. It's no longer the weakness that it once was for China.
Yeah, it's definitely evolving in that sense. Now OMG has just grabbed themselves a massive power spike from being down a good chunk of the game, dealing with this Vayne. What's the win condition from here? It seems like as long as San stays safe, they're doing okay.
As long as San stays safe and Dada 7 doesn't face check any brush. Again, it's about OMG being together as a unit. They are always either they're communicating and they're brilliant and they're the amazing OMG that everyone knows them for, the superior team, the dominating team for as long as they've been around, or they're completely off the ball, they get separated, you find these little weaknesses there. It's just about them staying grouped up and staying focused.
Yeah, and for Invictus, it seems to be trying to stall out, control a little bit of the vision game, give Kid as much time as he needs to get to that level. Ty's still trying to take the 1v1 just a little bit, but you can tell, oh, here we go. It's not a 1v1, though. That's a teleport coming in. Going, gonna make it a 2v2, but not before they go down. They do trade each other in leveling, wondering what the hell just happened. Going now, teleporting in, following Youngsu almost all the way out of white. Okay, I guess I'll just take this buff. Kid gonna get himself caught up, but Dada and San, can they finish it? I don't know. Illusion and Kitties are collapsing. The hook's going to go in, flashed away. Dada's going to get a big ult off, and I don't think they can take this going. Maybe they can. He's going to get the jump onto Kid, and there is leveling in the backline. San's going to get Kitties in the meanwhile. Youngsu trying his best to zone, but that is a Jax you cannot follow up with, and this is going to be OMG's fight. Absolutely huge. They're going to get the ace out of here if they can chase down Youngsu. Run, Dragon Lady, run. Oh, no. That's enough.
Beautiful collapse from OMG right there. Invictus Gaming, they're trying to put OMG on the back foot by trying to find these picks and kind of wiggle their way in, find the assassination there. Weren't able to get it off quickly enough. And again, the superior collapse and teamwork from OMG, the fact that you had Going and Loveland involved there.
Yeah, that was
huge punish.
A really nice counter collapse from OMG. And Invictus, they traded mid laners, and you could call that a win. I mean, Zatai, as excellent as he is, taking out Cool for yourself is almost always worth.
Well, he immediately deleted the Baron buff, which was the big thing.
Yeah. But then they weren't able to follow up on anybody else, and as much zoning as they were able to accomplish, you can't stop Going. You absolutely cannot. This guy is a monster, and he's on Jax. He's on a hyper carry. He's also got his Frozen Heart completed. There's no way you're stopping this guy.
The one bright spot is the fact that that Baron, although it was relatively early, didn't crack the inhibitor line for Invictus Gaming. It took down a mid-tier tower as well as, getting them that clean A. So effectively what it did was just give them a huge surplus of gold. You do see now, a 6k advantage in favor of OMG. It's now, can they continue to snowball this and compound this into a victory?
Well, and what have they turned it into, too? You see a lot of ward investment as well, and OMG definitely playing the long game to try and take advantageous engages like that. You see as the game goes on, San's role going to transition a little bit more into what he likes to do best, sit in the back line, pew-pew everything, but of course clear a lot of mini waves of siege. Yeah, that's going to be the key to victory here. And meanwhile, stopping the split push is cool on Yongsu. A lot of damage there. Dragon's Ascent being forced. That won't be available for just another minute or two, but he will find himself a pink ward for his troubles.
Of course, Yongsu very safe on that dragon at this point in the game. Very tanky, very fast. I feel like every time we look at him, though, he's burning that Dragon Ascent as an escape.
He's been on a back foot a lot of the game, and this is the issue with Shyvana, is that once you hit that mystical wall, going. He's getting chased out here. He gets away. Shyvana has kind of a timer on a usefulness when you're dealing with someone like Jax.
It's a little bit unfortunate to see. I feel like we said, Invictus Gaming, the dark horse coming into this, what have they been up to? We haven't seen them. They didn't compete in the playoffs, so it's kind of like they're under the radar. Are they going to come out really strong? But they feel almost stunted, although, hold on a second, going, face checking.
Oh, he's going to get caught up, but he's got a counter-strike. Oh, Deathmark going in, on to going, not enough damage, and they will be taking this fight. It is a 5-on-4. Yongsu rushing to get there, does not have his teleport available. Nonetheless, OMG back off. Really good defense from Invictus, but they pull out a lot of ults to try and get that off.
And that's the thing, they're playing the very old Invictus Gaming style. It's very reactive, not so much proactive, whereas OMG is being much more methodical. They set up the Baron, they're strategically thinking about these towers, creating these pressure points on the map. Invictus Gaming is doing a good job kind of wiggling underneath things and causing some chaos and finding a few picks here and there, but they looked a little scattered. They look far weaker than I expected them to come out, especially against, the performance that OMG has put on so far.
Yeah, OMG has really stepped it up, and it almost looks like, the few mechanical mishaps on San's part, on Dada's part aside, you might expect that to a degree. They are the weaker part of the team. Their internal issues don't seem to be affecting them much, really at all right now. So maybe they finally clicked. They spent a lot of time trying to work with Dada and get this to a workable point. And this is a team that looks like it could go to the World Championships.
I wouldn't go that far, but we shall see.
Well, if they win this one, they will only have to win, 3 more?
2 more.
Well, 3 in a row.
Oh, yes. 2 sets.
I can math sometimes.
Sometimes.
Cool and Dada should be able to take this dragon down, but they got a little bit of help from San as well. Nice sneak maneuver. Baron is up in 7 seconds, though, and Invictus already moving for it. They will get some vision control, but you have Loveling already there, and going up in the top, and I don't think Invictus is going to dare this one just yet. Not confident in the 5v5 at the moment with the gold surplus on the side of OMG. They will hide in the bush and wait for it. Think Loveling sees them, though.
They need to make a pick.
Oh, and dead giveaway.
The issue is they're now about to lose all of their vision control. Yep.
Literally all of it.
All of it gone.
Notice how the Chinese fans don't clap when wards are killed.
They don't know what a ward is. It's been so long.
Oh, man.
It's so new to them.
Oh, speaking of so long, guess what's been so long? The Baron hasn't been killed just yet. Here it goes down. This is going to be a big fight, but OMG is going to back away from it wisely. Kid trying to come in. Oh my goodness, a tie getting chunked out. However, he will get the death mark off and get a little bit of lantern to safety, and he will just narrowly escape by the skin of his teeth. Yongsu once again burning the Dragon's Ascent to try and get out of this one. Dada takes the most of the poke, but that's what they want. Going, flashing, jumping. Yongsu, he's in trouble. I don't know if they've got enough for it though. Yo, Loveling, he gets hooked up against a wall, and they're looking for anything they can find. Both teams so low. This is a bruiser fest right now. Yongsu, will he fall? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Everyone is going low right now, and Go finally finds his man. It's going to be Kitty's. Kid goes down as well. Yongsu, San coming up with the kill. That is a 3 for none, but Going might just give one up. Dodging away, he jumps forward, he gets 4. They've managed to pick off everybody but Zatai and go right back to the Baron.
Again, the patience of the cooldowns, the fact of how they position that team fight. OMG is so good at covering their flanks, making sure that they stayed together as a unit, making sure that the last breath was used as effectively as possible right there to do the most damage, and that was really the turner for that team fight.
Yeah, huge huge turnaround for OMG, and it's going to net them a lot in results. Nicely done with going and leveling just continuing to push out while that was all going down. Zatai will try to force them off. Deathmark immediately coming in, but they're going to get him locked up. That is a dead Zatai, and Kitties might follow too, but cool. He says, all right, bring it on. I can chunk you out as fast as you can dish it to me. Inhibitor down, number 1, OMG, leading the charge on this one with a massive gold swing and the Baron in their pockets. It's going to be hard for them to lose this game, number 1.
It should be a slow procedural loss for IG at this point. The gold lead is insurmountable. At this point, they need to be thinking, what do we do next? How can we fix this? The scary thing is that OMG is typically slow to start on their sets.
Yeah, this will be a huge confidence booster for them. Absolute dominance over Invictus in the later stages of the game, completely not worrying about Kid's Vayne. And Invictus, they've tried. To their credit, they have been trying to set up good fights, but it just hasn't worked out for them, and the counter engage is just too strong. Here they go with the baits. That's going to be Dada getting a big chunk off there. Going forward. Everyone following through. Lanterns to safety. Can they get out? Yes, they can. Nonetheless, the trap right outside the base, and they're just going to do it again.
Gonna go back.
Deja vu. Illusion and Kitties are having painful repressed memories here. Oh, hey guys, there's an open base.
They just got out-positioned because they showed themselves.
Yeah, Lantern is up again though, so that should be safe. They will get... Oh, Loveling's actually caught up on a line here, but they don't have enough damage to chunk him out. Baron buff still active. It's really hard for Invictus to take a fight now. I mean, this is definitely OMG's game, as long as they keep up the pressure.
Moving forward, IG... I mean, it's hard to ban them out. I definitely think that Lee Sin needs to be taken away from Alan. We talked about his win percentage. Should this game continue as it's going, that's going to be 9 out of 11 games. Zatai actually finding San, though.
Oh, well, I think we've seen this before, and that's going to end only one way. Zatai making it look too easy. Delete San from the map for another 50 seconds.
I feel all of his kills are that Lucian.
I think so. Well, he has to have more than that, because he's got 6 kills and there's only 5 deaths, but most of them, I would argue, are on that Lucian.
I feel like Lee Sin needs to be a contested pick, or at least taken away from Alan. But otherwise, I mean, you're absolutely right. Both teams effectively got exactly what they wanted, and OMG just came out ahead, so it's really hard to say, you know, where do we go from here?
Well, they have to focus a little bit more bans, I think, the next game. Clearly, the Yasuo hasn't necessarily been the biggest part, but I feel like you still have to ban it.
It's the synergy between the Lee Sin and the Yasuo that makes it so potent, and the fact that that Dragon Rage finds it every time. But hold on, under fire.
He's going to try the 1v2. That was a perfect condemn, but it may not be enough. Going, managing to chunk out almost the entire team of Invictus, almost finding Kid, but he finally goes down. That was a little bit too much, and it will be a 5v4 for just a moment. So OMG finding not the most favorable positions, as they've really been, I think, struck with a case of overconfidence.
Just miscommunication right there. They weren't really in position. I mean, obviously that top inhibitor tower is the next easiest objective on the map for them to obtain, but just miscommunication of we're setting up for the blue buff steal, you're setting up for pushing the lane, and a good read from IG to find that sneaky hide in the brush, which is, I mean, that's what Zatai's been doing all game, standing in brushes and waiting for people to walk into him.
Yeah, it's how he's been able to amass those kills, definitely, or just proactively seeking out the kill. But the issue is, with 2 inhibitors down, there's a lot of attention preoccupied in that bot, in that mid. It's going to be easy pushing for OMG should they want to take it. Dragon will be absolutely easy to pick up if this game goes on long enough. Another Baron. Oh, cool, is going to get found up by Zatai. Actually, they're trading pretty evenly here. However, the cavalry has arrived, and so is Loveling. He's going to be able to get hooked up on a line. Going, going to go for Kid. He might be in a bit of trouble. Box goes down. Going, duking it out with just about everybody, but he bails back. And here we go. The fight is on. That's going to be a big Braum landing. Going, is going to get burned out, or is he? He gets away. Absolutely amazing. Cool is not so lucky, however. And Invictus Gaming somehow finding the miracle fight. Dada 7 is going to go down next. That is the chase. Unbreakable, not anymore. Illusion will find the kill.
IG coming up huge right there. Unfortunately, Baron is not in position for them to
and
really
they can't
snowball.
do anything here.
Exactly, that's the issue, is that their base is so far gone. They win the fight there, but it doesn't really amount to anything other than padding their gold back up, but still at a 10k deficit. Of course, as the game goes on later and later, that'll start to mean less and less, but
yeah, they've managed to force back OMG. No more Baron buffs to even delete, but yeah, they took a lot of damage to their Nexus turrets. Finally, their inhibitors are back up, so they will get some breathing space. But in 2 minutes, the Baron is active again. OMG are going to beeline for that, force the fight. They have a massive advantage in their favor. Well, as long as they have the positioning they need, I think it should be their fight.
Need to be a little bit wary. Vayne is starting to take off, has the GA, Last Whisper, Shiv, and Bork completed.
Yeah, that's gonna get a bit scary. This endgame is getting crazy now. Youngsu with the Thornmail as well, definitely trying to prevent as much of Son going. Actually, pretty much everybody. I mean, this is the thing. Stack the armor. Maybe a good general strategy, but you still have to find the angle you're looking for, and that's Kitty's gonna get queued out by Loveling. And they're going to force Invictus Gaming very slowly out of their own jungle.
Biding their time, waiting for the pick, and you have so much synergy for Cool's Gaswo.
Oh, Kitties wants to find a fight here. Oh, he gets the flay, doesn't connect.
Connecting on those wraiths. That's all that matters.
That's that, yeah, a little gold in your pocket, right? Oh, extra 30 gold. Oh, he's rich. Dragon now, this should be absolutely easy. It's going to go down. Ooh, Zatai tried to come in for that with the Living Shadow, but it wasn't quick enough. Go going, looking for the fight. He's just going to find Kitties. Anyone will do at this point. OMG are on the cusp of taking game number 1 if they can only find the fight. Illusion is low, Kitties is low. Youngsu, he's kiting it out. That's Kid actually doing a lot. Loveling, he's in trouble. This fight could turn right on around now. Loveling is going to go down. This fight's going so crazy, the server lag. Illusion, oh my goodness. OMG manages to turn it around again. Kid by himself. Guardian Angel popped, but that's going to be GG as soon as he goes down here. Goodbye, good night, and a 1-4-5. OMG cleans up, hand him a mop.
And like you said, OMG, this does lead them one more game off of IG, and they will move on to the next round. 2 sets, and they're in.
Yep, that's going to be the last of the Nexus turrets falling. All the wards are down. Maximum vision over at the opposing fountain. Game number 1 going in favor of OMG, and they have never looked this strong, at least not in a couple of weeks.
It's definitely been a while for this OMG to really show up. Happy to see that it did, though. Again, the communication. We are going to see, I believe, a replay on that last fight.
Yeah, we're going to check out how that all goes. So this is the very end of it. We're just going to catch the last minute or two. And, oh, never mind. There it goes. Back to the end screen on that one. So, yeah, that's
server doesn't even know where to go here.
Yeah, that game was all sorts of confused. Invictus really has to step it up. I mean, the early game was great. They managed to make a lot of plays. They got Vayne to a workable state. But then they fell apart.
That's kind of the understatement of falling apart. IG never really connected on where they needed to. We talked about how it was very formulated from OMG and everything that they got out of it. It was textbook from them. And IG, you know, I expected stronger. I expected them to be practicing, to be researching, but they looked like the same old IG, very uncoordinated, very inconsistent. Again, you have so many superstars and so many strong points, but unless you focus that all together and you use it collectively towards a goal, you don't find anything. I mean, that was what? That was picks, and that was random team fights that, you know, 2 team fights that turned their way, but nothing massive, nothing big.
Yeah, and also key to this one is despite Son being outpositioned, being caught out by Zatai a number of times, despite Dada doing everything we expected him to do, just getting caught out, getting chunked, and generally dying a lot in the early game, it didn't matter. They were able to turn it around. The Bash Bros prevailed, and Invictus has a lot of thinking to do. You can see it on their faces right now.
It's the recognition of their strength right now to realize Son is not in a position to hyper carry us. He's in a position to kill towers, to be there for team fights. So they put him on a self-sufficient champion. He can take care of himself, and they allow their tanks, their bruisers, their fighters, their Bash brothers to dive the backline and to take care of the enemy team without having to worry what's going to happen to their backline. It's very clever, but it's very practice. I feel like Lucian should be a contested pick to put Son on something a little bit more dangerous, maybe a Kog'Maw there, although he tends to go back to Tristana.
Yeah, we'll have to see going forward into game number 2. Invictus on the ropes here of dropping into the loser's bracket. But we'll go into a quick commercial break, guys. When we return, we will be back for game number 2 of the first day of our Chinese World Championship qualifiers. Don't go anywhere, because you're watching it live on LPL EN. everybody's minds. OMG, everyone expects a lot of them, especially their mid laner. Cool has been instrumental in all of these sets that OMG has played in. You could almost say hard carrying in a lot of ways. Going has kind of been a little bit less consistent of late. Did get a couple of missed teleport timings. This is the kind of thing they rely on. Their bot lane is typically considered one of the weakest of the top teams. And Invictus has a very strong suit there. Kid and Kitties have been one of the stronger, more consistent bot lanes in the entirety of the LPL despite their weak finish.
And I like that's what you bring out, because when we talk about the matchup of Invictus Gaming versus OMG, everyone likes to talk about Cool. Of course, he had that amazing Yasuo game where he went, what, GPM was 610? I think that's the record, previously defeating Son's record. The thing, though, is that his counterpart for this set coming up is going to be Zitai. We talk a lot about how Zitai has this dynasty about him. It used to be back in the day that White's Cool and Zitai and Messiah were kind of, the top 4 mid laners. Messiah retires, White's retires, Cool goes on injury list. Of course, he has now returned to OMG and, like you said, been hard carrying the team. But it was kind of up to Zitai, hey, these other 3 mid laners kind of disappeared from the scene. I can finally rise up. I can be the mid laner that everyone expected me to be. And he kind of choked and stumbled. Is this an issue of, not being able to do the new shot calling role that he now supports for the team? Is this an issue of, PDD retiring? That said, if anyone has the potential to beat Cool 1v1 in the lane from China, it is Zitai.
Yeah, he's definitely a huge pivot point on this team. In the top lane, you mentioned PDD's retirement. They have been struggling with their replacement. They did get him from Korea from a team called Mook Comet. It was Yang-Soo, and he really hasn't had a deep champion pool. He hasn't done particularly poorly, but it's hard to fill those shoes that PDD left. That is an incredible player that was the scene that just lost after that last split. So it's difficult to really get into that mindset that you can get that good in that short of time. And I think they tried to rely on him for a while. It didn't quite work out. And Invictus is a team that, they can be absolutely flaming hot and just completely demolish opponents, but at the same time, they also can lose anyone. They went 1-1 in the regular season against every team except their sister team.
Exactly. The only team that was able to that they couldn't split with was Young Glory. Interesting statistics also coming into this is the fact that Cool, and this is not counting play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you make Challenger.
And that's how you make Challenger.
I always come out with that one.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. So the Starhorn guys taking the field right now, taking the stage. What an epic venue that these have been set up at, and they're just happy to be there. He's a big smile on his face as they get ready to take on their first opponents. Definitely coming in as a favorite over LGD, considering the 3-0 sweep they handed them during the LPL playoffs.
Obviously the favorites going into this are going to be Starhorn Royal Club and OMG. Of course, IG, the ultimate dark horse, and we will be able to see if they're going to bring anything out. But OMG taking their introductions right now. Son looking flashy as ever.
Yeah, of course, we're getting this on. I think Frost, I think your mic might be just a little bit muted on the stream.
I might just be really quiet. Let me pull it a little bit closer.
Gotta raise that voice. Get the hype in here as they're introducing all the OMG lineup. These are the last guys, of course. They are running Dota 7. They did have some roster swaps towards the end of the playoff season, and they didn't have as much success on him, to be honest, as there was with Cloud. But this is a team in flux, a team not in its old dominant form.
They effectively choked, I think is the real word for it. Coming into the finals against EDG, we saw a 22-minute surrender.
Yeah, that was not the way you want to go out on this one, but they're going to come in to try and reclaim that lost spot. See looks of determination on their faces. Going, having a little smile about it all, but hopefully they can come back against this one. Invictus Gaming is a team that, frankly, they're the biggest dark horse of this entire event. They haven't really played much. They weren't involved in the playoffs. They got in on a second-place spring finish. And yeah, it's pretty big. But here we go, LGD, the last team.
Speaking of dark horse or underdogs, of course, LGD also coming in. Not with the highest hopes going in, but a lot of veteran status and a couple of new faces on their team. Of course, veteran leading their captain, PYL, their support position, but XQ now on the screen. Kind of the up-and-coming new blood.
Yep, this is a team that has some old experience too, though. PYL standing in the middle. Big, long-time player in the Chinese scene, and he has sort of been there, seen it all, done everything, and he is leading this squad hopefully to victory. They will have a chance to make the World Championships here tonight. They will be playing their first set against Starhorn, though, and that is not an easy matchup.
And that's what's really important tonight. So we won't know playoffs because obviously IG didn't compete in playoffs. Had a total of 11 unique champions played in the mid lane. The only person to beat him, the two mid laners, were Diangoon and Zitai with 12 unique champions in the mid lane.
And of course, Zitai, you always joke about it. It's a random button that he hits every single time when he's locking champion. And we saw him play Renekton mid. He went back to his Season 2 favorite, Zillion mid, before a lot of other regions even thought about that this year. This guy is absolutely crazy, an evil mastermind. We'll just see if that side of him comes out tonight, because that's something that Invictus is going to need to topple the Chinese gangsters. OMG is still a scary team to reckon with.
Absolutely, and now focusing from the mid lane, moving down into that bot lane, we said it over and over, Son and Data7 are not looking as strong as they have. Kid and Kitties are not a lane bot lane. That's not what they're strong at. Kid isn't known. He's not the Uzi or the Name of the bot lane. He doesn't come out super aggressive. It's actually arguably his weakest point in the game. He's very much more about team fighting. So in that respect, Son and Kid actually match up fairly well because they do very similar things. The big turning point and kind of the clinch for the bot lane, I definitely think it's between the supports. Kitty's very experienced Thresh player, very experienced veteran support player compared to Data7. That said, Data7 actually has the world's experience. He's been on that stage before. He's been with OMG for a long time.
See if, sub.
Exactly. We'll see if Son and Data7 can reinvigorate some of that synergy that they found, on the previous global context.
Yeah, it's tough, though, because you can clearly see that his mechanics were not quite up to par for the set that they really played against. Even against Starhorn, but against Edward Gaming in particular, it just was not there for him. He got caught a number of times. They had to put him on a tankier champion. He had some success on Braum. His Thresh play wasn't bad. And that's something that's troubling when you're relying on getting Son to a safe state. He's not the hard carry for the team, unlike a lot of Chinese teams where you have the AD carry being the central focus. We think Old World Elite, Wei Zhao we saw earlier in the crowd, of course, very much epitomized that. EDG, the same kind of way. Invictus Gaming, not as heavily, because Kitties and Kid are sort of still more of a supporting style bot lane, in the same sense that Son and Data7 will be, but they don't have quite so many hard carries. Zitai is going to be heavily relied on, I think. Illusion also.
It comes down to the versatility of these teams and how many different threats and stars. For sure, the two teams that are going to Worlds, but the group will be slimmed down and eliminated to 3 teams competing. So again, it's double elimination, best of 3s. Loser of the OMG versus IG match will drop out into the second tier bracket. Loser of the LGD versus Starhorn Royal Club match will also drop down. And then our third set of the night, so even though our schedule only showed 2 sets, it is 3 best of 3s tonight, will be the losers match between whoever loses from Group A and Group B.
Exactly, and the team that does lose out on that one will unfortunately be absolutely out of the tournament. You lose 2, you're out. You win 2, you're in. That is the simple rule. Of course, EDG, they're already in. They're just here to watch the festivities unfold, and when they do get to that final matchup for just World seeding. And here we see on the screen those matchups for tonight. Invictus Gaming OMG coming up first. You saw a lot of OMG hype in the crowd, not so much for Invictus. This is a team that would be considered an underdog, and again, they're a team that has not shown much recently. Any play whatsoever, being not in the playoffs. Maybe they have some tricks up their sleeves.
The one thing that dazzled me from the crowd so far is not so much the OMG hype, but Salme's sweater. I don't know if you got a peek at that, Pyra, but...
Yeah, it was a little... we went back in time, remember? So I'm pretty sure he picked it up while we were in Victorian England, playing that symphony.
I know you were tired, but just straight into the rocking chair. And of course, World Elite is not participating tonight, either is EDG. They are just here in the crowd supporting the rest of the LPL teams. This is going to decide who will be taking the last 2 spots for the World Championship.
Yep, OMG looking to vie for that one. You can see right there. They really want it. This looks like a team that is much more invigorated than they were at the LPL summer finals. They really, you can tell by the looks of just absolute devastation on their faces, the surrender votes, everything was just not there for them, and they will have a chance at redemption here tonight.
And let's talk a little bit about historically the context of OMG versus Invictus Gaming coming into this. So through the LPL summer split, OMG did have a better record against IG. I believe they 2-0'd them and then split 1-1. So it's 3-1 in favor of OMG. That said, the last time these two teams faced off in a best of 3, it was actually the playoffs for spring split, yes, and IG actually upset OMG to even make it to these qualifiers. Since then, they did not get the invitation to the playoffs because they weren't in the top 4 teams. So we haven't seen them for a while. So again, it's that running theme of dark horse. What has Invictus Gaming been doing? What are they been up to? And if they'll show up tonight?
Yeah, that's really the big question on every.
尖叫声、欢呼声在哪里？好，下面呢，我们将要登场的是今年职业联赛春季的亚军战队。
Well, that was quite the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone. We're getting underway. The Chinese World Championship qualifiers you're seeing on your screen right now. Of course, the guys that already made the qualification, that's Edward Gaming, but this is not going to be about them. Of course, we're introducing the other teams right now, Invictus Gaming coming up on your screen. But guys, this is going to be epic. I'm Devin PiraTechnics, joined, of course, by Ryan Frosker and more, and we are going to kick these games off in style, it looks like. Yeah, they're running too. But does he do no? Yeah, this has been a journey in time and space, I'm pretty sure, today. We started out somewhere preoccupied with 1985. Then we kind of went a little bit back in time, you know, Victorian era, maybe a little bit of a symphony. Then we kind of went to this dystopian future, and then back to the 80s for a little bit. I don't really know where we are anymore, to be honest. Well, we don't have to because these guys are. And look at that raised platform and everything. I expect like Slash to be standing behind them. He's kind of hanging out. She's giving the forecast. Actually, it's Starhorn, so we're going to see all the teams being introduced kind of like around. But yeah, as you mentioned, the first matchup of today will be OMG and Invictus Gaming. Second matchup, Starhorn Royal Club, LGD. These are the 4 teams still vying for a World Championship second and third seed. Well, technically they could make first. The way that whole thing kind of plays out, they have to play a double elimination bracket, best 2 out of 3. And of course, the final winner of that will face off against EDG for the #1 world seed.